I am Rick with PLP Battery Supply, and today we're going to talk about replacing an electrical timer in a charger with a mechanical timer. Now, whenever you need to replace timer in a charger, you have a couple of different choices. Usually you can go with, in this case, this is an associated charger, and we have an electrical timer that is identical to the one that's in it. We could replace it with that, but that's the easy way. So we're going to replace it with a mechanical timer. The reason that people opt for these is because they are cheaper. The electric timer runs about $50 to $55. This thing runs a little bit less than $25 for a mechanical, or you can put an OEM associated charger in it, which is 70-ish, something like that. We're filming this in October 25, so that's current pricing about where we are now. So this is what we are talking about. This is the mechanical timer, and the difference is when we say a mechanical timer versus an electrical timer requires power to actually run the little timer motor in there. These things don't require any power. They're just a circuit interrupter, and they have a mainspring inside. So whenever you wind it up, it's just going to actuate with a mainspring. It doesn't require its own power supply. So you can put these in just about anything. And we are going to replace the one in this guy with one of these little timers. So we've just opened this thing up, and this is one of our shop chargers. It's been around for a long time, and I haven't actually looked at it to see what needs to be done to it, but you're going to see it along with me, and we're going to tear into this thing and figure out what needs to happen to replace this one with that one, and see which wires we need to use, which wires don't need to use, and all that sort of stuff. This is, to give us some background, this is an old associated 6009A, I think. Yep, 6009A. I can tell because it's printed right on the front. We'll give you a view of the front of it. I will start right now by telling you that whenever I open this thing up, take a look at it, I can tell, because I'm a genius, that this thing's been worked on before. There's a big clue inside this charger that we've had this thing apart and have done some repairs on it. So during the course of this video, you'll get to see the inside of this charger, and if you think you want to be a genius and can figure out what I see and what makes me know that this thing's been worked on before, get in touch with us, and I will give you a free prize if you're the first one to let me know. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to tear into this thing and clip off the cable ties and take a look at the wiring in there, and I'm going to draw the wiring diagram up here so you guys can see what I'm dealing with, and then we'll make a determination on what we're going to do to put the timer in. Here is what I'm confronted with. We've got some wires coming from all over the place, and what we're going to do is just take these cable ties off, because for right now they're nothing but in the way. So that doesn't need to be there. Make some more room here. Already got that one off. I believe we can just leave that one on there. I don't think it's going to make a difference. No, that one's going to come off too. Okay. So now we got everything spread out where we can get to it. And what we got is we've got our AC power comes in here. This is the power cord. We've got our white neutral that goes over to the power, that's the don't know if you can see it or not. We'll try and move over and get that. It goes over to the rate switch. So that's going to be the power feeding into the transformer. And the other side of the AC power that's coming in out of the cord is right here, and it's going directly to the timer. That's where we expect it to go. And then we've got a bundle of wires up here. Go ahead and take this off. And what they're doing is feeding the fan motor. So we've got the AC that comes in from the power cord. It goes into this wire nut here, and from out this wire nut, we've got power going to the timer motor up here to run the timer. And I'll give you a heads up, that's one of the ones we're gonna be getting rid of. And then we've also got the power that goes over to run the fan. So what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to make sure that all that stuff stays the same except for the one that goes to the fan motor. Except for the one that goes to the timer motor right here. So we'll be getting rid of that because we don't need that anymore. What I'll do is I'll make a diagram over there in the whiteboard so you guys can see what I'm dealing with and the changes that I'm going to make, and then we'll get back to actually doing this. This is the diagram of how everything is hooked up inside there. This is where the AC power cord comes in. Got the white wire and the black wire, and the white wire goes into a wire nut and it splits out and goes to the fan, the switch, and the timer motor. The black wire that comes in off the power cord goes directly to the timer, and then there's another wire from the timer that comes back up into a wire nut, and from that wire nut it's feeding power to the fan and to the transformer. So if we think about this for just a second logically, what's going on here is this is the white wire coming in. This is sort of constantly on stuff. We're not going to worry about switching any of that. What's happening over here is that power is coming into the timer, and it is feeding out of the timer on the switched side of the circuit, because the timer is a switch. It's feeding out of there, and it's feeding the transformer and the fan. So when we turn the timer on, it's providing power to the transformer and providing power to the fan. Then the switch at that point is going to be controlling the power to the other side of the transformer legs to determine which one of the transformer power circuits it's going to energize. So this is our circuitry that we've got to figure out how to replace the electric timer with the mechanical timer. And to be real honest with you, on the diagram, although this looks like a real snake's nest, it's relatively simple. All we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking out the wire that runs the power to the timer and just basically getting rid of that. And all the rest of this is going to be the same. We're going to be having a mechanical timer that takes the power from the AC cord, and then whenever the timer's engaged, when it's turned on, then it's going to be putting power out to these same wires. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start disconnecting some stuff here, and I'm going to start with actually popping the old timer off of here. These things use, if you've ever done one of these associated ones before, you'll recognize this. They use this little spring-loaded knob. You have to depress this a little bit. I just use an old screwdriver, and then you can pop that off the shaft. And then there's a couple of Phillips screws. We could turn this around just a little bit for a better view. Does that show up good, Joe? So we'll pop these guys out of here just so that we can take the timer loose and be able to see what we're doing better. Okay, so here we are with the connections on the timer, and the first one with the blue insulator on it, that is the power coming in from the AC cord. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect that, and we're just going to set that aside because that is the one we're gonna just reuse it the way it is. Not gonna make any changes to it. So pop that thing off there. There's that. This other one, the one with the naked terminal on it, that is the output wire that's going to go and it feeds the fan and the transformer. So we're going to also need that one to just stay intact. Off it comes. This last wire, this one here, that's the one that has the feed that comes in that actually runs this electric timer motor. That's the one we're going to get rid of. That'll be the circuit that you do not need. So it's actually taped into this wire nut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect all of this, and I think what I'll probably be able to do, just pull that wire out, bundle the others back up, and call it good. There goes the old timer. So the rest of this stuff, I'm just gonna put it back the way it was. Avert your gaze, don't pay any attention to what a bad job I'm doing of being an electrician here. There we go. Since I didn't bring any electrical tape from the shop up here with me, we're just gonna call that good to go. Okay, so here's where we're at in this process. We've got these two wires, again, the one that is the switched side and the one that is the power side, the hot side. New timer, 2 terminals. I will point out, and we put this in all our literature, it's always the same. It doesn't matter whether you hook up this wire to this terminal or that one. Same thing with this one. Doesn't matter at all. These 2 terminals are interchangeable. They are just switched. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out, make sure this thing is in the off position, which it should be. That's the way we ship them. So I'm going to stick the knob on there for just a second. Give her a twist. Whenever I turn it back, see, I just turned it clockwise. If I turn it back, it should ding. Ta-da. So that tells me that's the off position. So I want to orient this thing in the charger with the flat opposite the off. So that's the way the knob's going to go on, just like that. So I'm going to put this thing in the charger and get some dirt off here. There's already a couple of screw holes here. Are you still in frame there, Joe? More or less. So I'm going to put this thing in here, or at least I'm going to plan to put it in here just like that, because those screw holes will line up. And then the knob will go on, and then my timer, actually I could put it that way. I could put it that way on this one. It'd be a little bit off. The knob is not going to line up with the off position on the panel. So I'm going to have to end up using one of our labels, which is no big deal. I can do that. But I think I'm going to put it like this, where the off is at the top. So that's my plan. Now that I've got that figured out, I'm going to go ahead and put these wires on here. Again, it simply doesn't matter which side's which. So in our configuration, we're going in like this. Wires will be on the far side over here. Timer's going to go right there. Line up. So one of the things that we run into whenever we're replacing a timer is that sometimes the screws are a little different size that hold the timer in. I struggled with trying to just jam it through there and it didn't want to go. So we're going to resort to using a drill. I've already cleared this one out, and it's basically just kind of cleaning out the hole. So that one's cleaned out, and then the other one, let's clean it out. Oops. Get it in there. There we go. So now the screws will fit. and we go back to putting our timer in. So we're going to orient the thing in there the way we wanted it, which is just like this. Remember, we were going to go flat side down so the pointer points up. And let's see if I can get that screw in there. There's that one started. And here's this one started. And one of the things that I'll point out is that on these associated chargers, and most chargers that use that same style of electric timer, this is a timer from Midwest Electric. It's made here in the US, and it's the same thing. I mean, we sell these same timers for replacement, but the spacing on the holes is the same as it is on these mechanical timers, so you don't have to do anything, you know, super fancy or anything else when it comes time. You don't have to drill new holes. You just might have to, like on this one, open them up some to make it work, but you don't have to drill new ones. So there's the timer mounted, and here, we'll go ahead and do this. This is the knob, and I'm going to point out that the knob is just a push-on knob. It's got the same D shape to it. It's got a metal insert in there, so it fits right on this shaft. These knobs only fit on the timer shafts. The timer shafts have a different cut on the flat than what a rate switch has got. So this knob fits on timers only. It doesn't go on rate switches. So anyway, that thing will go on there, and we'll push it on so it's on. And if we had really awesome audio, we could hear it ticking. But it's ticking, and we go back there. There's off. Electrically, and as far as mechanically mounting the timer in there, we are done. The only thing I have yet to do is take some cable ties and tie this stuff up out of the way. In this case, probably our greatest concern is to make sure that we've got this stuff up and out of the way of the fan motor, because we don't want our fan blade to be hitting these wires. So what I will do is I'm just going to grab a cable tie. I'm going to bundle this stuff up right up here. I'm not going to take the time to tie off those wire nuts, which I should do, but I don't have any electrical tape with me, so I'm not going to mess with it. But that'll get all that stuff done. And we'll do this. If I were doing this, if I wanted this thing to be all finished up, I'd probably do one more cable tie in there to make sure that that white wire stays away from stuff. But for now, just for testing, that's all I need to do. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this thing into AC, and we'll do a quick test to make sure that it's going to work. Okay, so we're ready to test this thing, and I'm just going to hook up my multimeter to the DC clamps. I don't have it hooked up to a battery, so it's just going to be open circuit voltage. But we've got the charger set on 12-volt low, which should give us maybe 9 or 10 volts open circuit, we'll see. But we'll turn the timer on. There we go, 9.3, 10.6, 14.6 on the 12-volt high setting. So that all looks good. Timer's working. Looks like we're safely not chopping our wires with the fan. I probably need to fix that, put more ties in there. But it is doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, so just to recap, when we removed this old timer, the only thing we really did on this diagram here that we changed was we got rid of this wire that ran from the white side of the circuit, the wire that ran to the timer motor and runs the timer motor. All the rest of this stuff, we kept it intact. So this is what changed. And there is no timer motor anymore. There's just the timer switch. So there's the new wiring diagram right there. Actually not as complicated as you might think whenever you first open it up and you see that snake's nest of wires. It's really pretty simple theoretically. Sometimes whenever you open them up it looks more confusing, but it's really not. So if you keep this in mind, make sure that you've got everything figured out whenever you open it up and that you've got a good image in your mind of how everything needs to be. It is not that difficult to do one of these things. And like I said earlier, if any of you geniuses have figured out what's different about this charger and why I know it's been worked on before, why don't you give us a call and tell us, and there'll be a prize in it for you. How about that? I'm Rick, thanks for watching, and we will talk to you later. Thanks.